Welcome to the second day of the boot camp. Today we have Mr. Raymond Selorm Mamattah, who is an African representative of to the ELAC. He is here, and we would like to know more about Raymond and what he is doing. So, Raymond, can you give us your brief introduction?
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for the honor done me to be here on your program and for the second day. And good morning from Accra, Ghana. It's early morning here and a very wet weather, an interesting one for everyone to enjoy. To start with, I'm the African representative to the At-Large Advisory Committee, which I got selected this year through the nomination committee of ICANN. And prior to that, I was the NCSD representative to the Selection Standing Committee also within the ICANN. And I've also been a NOMCOM member of the AFRENIC. Aside that, I'm the founder and president of the e-Governance and Internet Governance Foundation for Africa, which is the entity that organizes the Ghana School of Internet Governance. So in short, that is the brief about me, but let me quickly add that I am a product of grace. That is what I always say, because I've been in the ecosystem for about 5 years, and to quickly rise to the ELAC is actually a matter of grace. Thank you.
So, so how did it all started? Like, were you asked to become a member, or did you, you had an interest? So, how did this journey started?
Frankly, this question always put a smile and goosebumps on my body. It all started when I was asked to apply for the ELAC. It was Glenn who actually asked me to apply. So when he approached me, I was like, are you sure? Are you sure you're talking to me? Because to be just 4 or 5 years in the ecosystem and to be thinking of the ELAC is something that never came to my mind. So I asked him if he's really sure that he wants me to go for this role. And he said, yes, I should just go for it. I hesitated a bit, but I also just said, let me just give it a try. Fortunately, when I started applying, I realized all the requirements, I have it. Everything that they say we should provide details on, have everything. For instance, your engagement in policy development, your engagement in the ecosystem generally, I have details of most of them. So when I started writing the application, I realized that really I already have everything that they required for. So it wasn't just that I was put into that role. And let me quickly add that applying through NOMCOM is a very frustrating process because you go through a lot of stages and the process is long. My application took 10 pages. I wrote 10 pages for my application. And after the application, we now have to go through an interview first and go through another written interview. I think written first, interview, then another written interview. So it's a very long, frustrating process. And the most frustrating part of it is at each stage, they keep updating you. Raymond, you've moved to the next stage. You've moved to the deep dive stage. So you are so apprehensive, wondering, would they come back and say, Raymond, you couldn't make it to the next stage? So this is how it has been a very frustrating process for me. And let me proudly say to the glory of God that my position to the ELAC has also been a prophecy. It was prophesied to me in a church that I was going to represent Ghana, I was going to represent West Africa, and I was going to represent Africa. But that did not come on a silver platter. It came because I already prepared for it. And as I already mentioned, I have already gotten all the requirements for this role. So I will say I'm a believer and I'm a Christian. I'm proudly a Christian, so I don't shy away from that. I'll proudly say that God really prepared me for the role, and at the right time, it came my way.
So my next question to you is, you've been nominated from the ALAC. So how was the experience? A lot of us see ICANN as a community organization. There is a lot of lack of understanding about the operation of how ICANN is currently operational around the world, how it works. So I would like to know how your experience was representing the community.
Okay, so I was nominated by ALAC rather to represent them in the selection committee for the Community Excellence Award. So that was the one I did the presentation at Holland, during Holland at the ICANN 74, that for the selection committee, which I represent ALAC 2 times. I represented them first before becoming an ALAC member. So in that role, we were supposed to select the best candidate for the community, the ICANN, the generally ICANN. And we have several nominees, and our role as panel members is to give our opinion on the various candidates who applied and weigh them against the other candidates, very good candidates who applied, and have been able to select Vanda, who has been a great member in the ecosystem. She was a board member. She was part of the GAG. She has been in various positions, and she probably always says that she has been a member. She has been the one who introduced the idea of the ICANN Fellowship, which is one of the greatest achievements so far. And for the board, I think you kept mentioning that I'm part of the board. So as a believer, I'll just say I received that in Jesus' name. Thank you.
Sorry, that was a slip of tongue, that came out. But I think that was in what you have shared is, in a short span of time, the way you have grown is quite phenomenal for a person, for a leader who's coming from Africa and believing and reaching out and doing so much in the community and creating that impact is certainly appreciate that, and we have to learn so much from you. Now I would like to ask you more about your engagement in the community. What are you doing? What kind of engagement should people do so that it helps their community more?
Thank you. So I'll start with what I am doing, and later how people can engage. So presently, what I am doing is managing my ALS, which is the at-large structure, which we call the E-Governance and Internet Governance Foundation for Africa. That is the entity that we are using to engage in internet governance and e-governance activities within the ecosystem. And my role as the founder and president is to get people on board from various angles who I think are very influential in making us reach our goal. So EDICFA largely is for the whole of Africa. So our activity aims at enriching the knowledge and the skills of people across Africa. And we have our staff also in the North Africa region. That is where we are kick-starting from, enriching the whole of Africa. So we have recently appointed a rep in Tunisia to assist the North African representative there. And my personal engagement, as I mentioned already, has been one, I've proudly been a member of the nomination committee of the African League, which has been a very good experience for me. But before I get there, let me tell you how it all started. I first saw a volunteer role for the selection standing committee, which they wanted somebody who already has a background in selection. And I used my background as an HR person to say, I used my background as an HR, human resource person, to apply for the selection standing committee role. And I've played that role for 1 year. And when I got to the ALAC, it wasn't renewed because I couldn't play those two roles because they fall within two constituencies. Then when I saw the nomination committee advert for Afrinic, the requirement for that is that you should have a selection experience within the internet governance ecosystem. So here is the link. Using my experience in HR in the office got me selected into the selection standing committee. Using my experience in the selection standing committee got me selected into the NOMCOM. So this is how it started. If I had not started from the SSC level, I wouldn't have gotten to the NOMCOM. So my simple advice to everyone on this call is please start engaging, volunteer in the ecosystem, and it gives you a lot of leverage. Let me also add, with my SSC experience, that is what has gotten me the advantage to be selected to represent the ALAC on 2 occasions to be part of the selection standing committee of the, those who select the committee experience personality, because you need to have the experience in selecting people. So just one experience has taken me to several levels. So when the opportunity comes, please leverage on it and start engaging. That you have will leverage you onto the next one. Then how do people get engaged in the ecosystem? I'll say this on a sad note, that it is very sad that when an opportunity comes for people to engage, they will have to send reminders upon reminders upon reminders before people will apply, which I don't simply understand. For instance, when I was in the SSC, when a role comes, sometimes you get only one person who applies. Whilst there are a lot of good candidates out there, but I can't simply understand why they wouldn't just come forward and apply for such roles. So the first thing I will tell everybody on this call is please use the opportunity to volunteer. If I had not gotten into this engagement, the knowledge I have today, I wouldn't have it. So it is very important to engage, to volunteer in one role. Once you start engaging from a committee group, a working committee or working group stages where it is group work, then at that stage, you'll be able to learn from the others how things are done. Then from there, you will now be able to represent any of the constituencies. So that is one of the tips I want to give.
Certainly, thank you for that tip. I was about to ask the next question. I was about to ask you, what are your recommendations for the newcomers, especially who want to join? So you made it very clear that you have to join and then start to volunteer. That is very very good suggestion, because without volunteering, without showing engagement, things don't add up. So you have to work with full your passion and what you are interested in, and then things do align. Now, I wanted to ask you something.
Let me chip in for the newcomers again, since that is a question you wanted to ask. Let me chip in for that one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Another tip for the newcomers is identify a constituency that you want to engage in at an early stage. So for instance, if it is the at-large that you want to engage in, start from there quickly. If it is the NCUC you want to engage with, start on internet registries. The regional internet registry that you want to start with is also another very good starting point to start with. The Afrinic and the rest is also another good starting point to start with. Then you must always read and be familiar with the the terms and the acronyms. Fortunately, ICANN has a good page where all the acronyms are explained. So you must start also from there so that you'll be able to understand all the terms that are being used, else you get confused. Then finally, be able to continue to read. In one of our engagements, I was surprised when Cyrianus, the ICANN Fellowship Manager, said that she is a learner. Somebody who has been in the ecosystem, even before some of us were born, says that she's a learner. If the whole fellowship program manager claimed a year ago, 2 years ago, it is a learning stage. Let us all keep learning. And lastly, at each stage in time, some of the things that might be discussed might sound confusing to you. One of the terms that we use in the Ghana SIG is street confusion. Continue your engagement, enjoy the street confusions, but at the appropriate time, that you've seen as a street confusion will make meaning to you.
Thank you, Raymond. Indeed, whatever you have suggested is very valid. And yesterday also we discussed more about the acronyms and how you should not go dive broad way in. You should first focus and then start engaging. Committed to the calls. Then volunteer, step up one at a time, because as you said, it's an ocean. It's an ocean once you dive in, and if you start to join all the groups, you start to you're bombarded with emails, and then you get overwhelmed. Now, if any of the participants would like to have a question, if any one of you want to have a question, please do raise your hand. Do you want to ask any question to Raymond? Okay, please raise your hand. In the meantime, the ICANN 75 is about to happen. So my question to you is, how do you prepare? I mean to say, how are you going about it? What will you be doing? Will you be traveling or not? Or will you be attending it online? So what are the preparation? How do you manage your sessions?
Okay, thank you. So in my role as the African representative, I have the privilege to attend all ICANN meetings in my tenure. So I'll be in Malaysia. We'll be setting off. It's actually a 3-day journey, a very long journey. 3 days journey that I'll be going. And one of my mentees on the ICANN Fellowship. And so it is one of my proudest moments for me to attend the ICANN 75. So we'll be traveling and joining in there. Then the preparation for ICANN meetings, let me address this for those who are new to the ecosystem. At each of the meetings, they have a lineup of activities that will be engaged in, that are outlined to be done for all the meetings. So I'll advise all the members to identify some of these meetings. Just go to the ICANN 75 meeting schedule page, go through all the schedules and see which of the schedules will be okay for you. One important thing you should also consider is the time zone difference. If you miss the time zone difference, by the time you wake up, the meeting is over. Because, for instance, Malaysia is 8 hours difference. So if in Ghana, as we speak, it is 10 o'clock here, and that will mean, I think, 6 o'clock in Malaysia. So if you miss in consideration, before the ELAC member will be to participate in all the ELAC meetings. And fortunately, I'm the one who proposed the topic for the Afri-ICANN meeting. So I'll be doing an introduction on that particular topic when we have our Afri-ICANN meeting. And let me add on a lighter note that I'll also be sharing chocolates when I go for the meeting, because I want to be noted and everybody should know the Ghana chocolate. Thank you.
Indeed, indeed, Ghana chocolates are like quite popular, especially in the ICANN meetings. You know, people, friends from Africa, they bring in. Now we have a question from Muhammad Awal. Please unmute your mic and have your question.
Hello. Thank you for the opportunity, and I say a very good morning to my my big man, Mr. Raymond. Talking about your journey in the ecosystem, where at a point of application, you were able to provide all the answers to the questions that were asked. Does it mean for one to be successful in the ecosystem, when there is an opportunity for one to apply, does it mean one has to have a particular qualification to be able to do some of these things, or just the effective or engagement in the ecosystem is enough for one to have the opportunity to be considered when there is an opportunity or when there is a job application?
Mohammed, for the question. So I'll tackle your question on two angles: qualification for the application and your engagement experiences. For instance, some of the roles require specific background. So for instance, as I gave the example, the selection standing committee, for instance, requires that you have an exposure in selection. And the NOMCOM also, nominating committee, also requires you to have a background in selection. So that is one of them. And for instance, recently, I'm part of the transfer policy committee, which also requires that you should have an exposure on knowledge on domains, experience with domains, maybe domain registration, domain transfer, and the rest. So it's also a requirement for being a participant in that angle. Then another, for instance, there was another selection that was supposed to be done, and they require somebody who has a legal background. So these are some of the things that you have to look out for. So when the opportunity comes, look at it and see if they require specific qualifications, if you meet. Then the engagement aspect. The other ones, they will just mention that you should be familiar with the ICANN ecosystem. You should be familiar with this, you should be familiar with that. And I mentioned, for instance, there's my selection into the nomination committee of AFRINIC. The requirement was that you should have a selection background in the ecosystem, which I use my selection standing committee experience to apply for that. And to come specifically to your question, with my application, I indicated I meet all the requirements because one, they asked that you should show your experience in policy development. You should show your experience in your engagement in the ecosystem, show your experience in how you are able to interact with multiple people in the various angles. So all with your qualification as an IT personnel or your qualification as a human resource personnel, your engagement in the ecosystem counts, because it is from all this engagement that you'll be able to gain all the needed experience that you require.
I would also like to add something. During the fellowship, these days what they have started doing is they have these shortlisted courses, mandatory courses, which are to be fulfilled. So they once you apply and if you are selected, they ask you to go through these courses. So generally, if you are applying for fellowships, they don't exactly see the requirement of a certificate or something, but they want to see the engagement that you are doing in the field in your community. So that is the basic priority, and then it goes on to the evaluation. And as Raymond rightly said about the engagement, when you are applying for a certain position, they certainly look for the experience, and a lot of the times, if you are interested and if you are in the community and if you stand up, they give you the opportunity, so that is there. And there are a lot of options. ICANN community is very dynamic. They do have a lot of leadership programs that are happening. A lot of these sorts of short courses are also available in their ICANN Learn thing. And if they need you to do it, then they ask you and give you the links, and then you can go and do the courses. Now, if anyone would like to ask any more questions, Benjamin, yeah, unmute your mic and you can have your floor.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Calling from Ghana. Good morning, Uncle Ray. My name is Benjamin. I'm a proud fellow of the Ghana SIG. I really want to ask you about your challenges. Why starting and growing in the ecosystem? What are your major challenges, and how did you overcome them? Some of us, while engaging in the system, we got overwhelmed. Too many activities. The passion is there, and our daily life, basic life, is still ongoing. So how do we combine all this and still thrive in the ecosystem? Thank you.
Thank you, Ben, and good morning indeed. With regards to challenges in the ecosystem, this is something that everyone goes through, and being overwhelmed with the challenges and all the activities, as I mentioned already, just be good enough to just select one of the ecosystem that you can start with. Don't bombard yourself with so many of the ecosystems. For instance, you as a Ghana SIG fellow, you have the privilege to engage in the ecosystem by using the EGICFA as an ALS, and to engage ecosystem that the constituency that I want to belong, and start from there. Secondly, don't back yourself with too many of the meetings that you think will get you confused. You can track, for instance, the AFRALO meetings, the at-large meetings, and you can start with that one and be able to continue in that engagement and pick up knowledge. Then 3, I belong to several other activities that I engage in. And I will tell you that sometimes I need to sacrifice my sleep. I need to overgo some of the things that I do. So it is a matter of your priorities. Be able to set your priorities right and quickly engage in the various aspects that you think are very relevant for you. Don't make an excuse. That is my case. If you find excuses, you will not be able to engage. And if you ask anybody who meaningfully engages in the ecosystem, it doesn't mean that the person doesn't have anything to do. Make time and sacrifices and engage in the ecosystem. I always say that if I knew what I had known today earlier, or if I had gotten the opportunity, especially the fellows are getting, to be walked through hand on hand on how to engage in the ecosystem, I think by now I might be the CEO of ICANN. So you have a very big opportunity and you have been given every knowledge. Please make good use of it.
That is a positive attitude, Raymond. I would like to hugely appreciate that, because a lot of the times you see a lot of things happening and you need a lot of positive attitude, and especially when you are working alone. I mean to say, the things that you have done, and really I really hugely appreciate the work that you have done with Kanasig and the way, Africa is coming up. Because as I always say, the next billion is coming from Asia and Africa. And we need to have more leaders coming out to all these communities where our representation have to be there so that the policies are standardized according to our needs. And that is really appreciable. And thank you for joining us today. We have very limited time because we are running out of time. So so we have another session at 1100 UTC, which would be specifically for the participant. We will be discussing about the things that we are doing. Tomorrow we are having Iris Ignacio, Vice Chair of APRALU, Asia Pacific Regional at Large Organization. So if you are interested, please do join in and share your ideas, thoughts, help us open up this community engagement more. And thank you, Raymond. Any last words?
Thank you for the opportunity to be part of your program. I really appreciate the opportunity. I don't take it for granted, and I'm very grateful for it. My last word to everyone on this call is please don't find excuses. You find excuses will find you. Engage in the ecosystem, keep learning, and when the opportunity comes for you to volunteer, please don't miss out on it. It is only in volunteering that you learn. It is only through learning that you get the experience. If you don't get all this, you keep marking time wherever you are. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Raymond. So we will be joining again at 1100 UTC. Thank you all for joining in, and we will have a rigorous discussion there. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you, everyone who has participated. And I will officially be ending this session now. Thank you. I think let's start. So today we had Raymond, who is an African representative to the ALEC, and we discussed the things that he experienced, and he also shared his his experience about his being nominated to the NOMCOM, and how he is practically doing engagement at his community. So a lot of these things are very simply laid. You just have to be very practical enough when you are applying or when you are there, because ultimately it is the community where it's more about what you can give to the community, and then you get better position, better identity, better visibility. So that is the thing. One thing that I liked about Raymond's was, as he mentioned, in a very short span of time, he was very progressive enough to get into ALAC, and his learning, his positive attitude is something that we all have to admire, and we have to work on that, because a lot of the times ICANN is such a big community that there are opportunities, but a lot of the people get confused in terms of what to do and what not to do, and they're more focused on positions. And as Raymond rightly said, volunteering gives you that space, gives you that identity, and it is very practical, because you go to these groups, and you start engaging, and you give your time, you give your effort, and then only the recognition comes in. So it is very important for any one of us who's trying to engage to be very visibly very clear about the values that what we are going to get, what our motives are, and how we are going to inspire. Because a lot of the times what happens is you might be engaging in the community, and you might not get the fellowships, or you might not get the position. So ultimately it takes some time for you to get visible. So you have to be very smart, very active in every way possible, and leave no stones unturned, because there are opportunities at every corners, and then you have to understand it, utilize it. And then tomorrow we are having another speaker, Eris Ignacio, who is the vice chair of Epidalo. So listening to him would also be another great opportunity, because he is very good with youth engagement and youth leadership, and he has done a lot of work with the community. So let's wait.
All right, so Shredeep,
Yeah.
can I say something?
Sure, Karen, sure.
Yeah, so I was there in the first session, and then I've enjoyed Raymond's presentation. So for me, like I mentioned yesterday, I I identify with the UE as universal acceptance. So for me, at this moment, it's not about position, but then to really understand and then be able to engage more, be able to contribute, and then we take it from there. So I picked few tips from there, which I also agree with, especially with the to volunteer at every point in time, because that's the best way to learn, you know. So that's something that I'm doing. Currently, I'm working with Raymond, of course, through volunteering. I volunteered to serve them, so I could have the chance to learn more and understand. And then let's see how my work with the UE gets, and then maybe I can move on from UE to something else. So that's the plan for me. It's not easy joining in the UE measurements meetings, you know, but because I'm determined to learn, I'm in that working group. I'm in the communication working group as well.
Right.
Yesterday there was a meeting with the communications, but I had a crunch meeting at the office, so I missed that.
Right.
But then with the measurements meeting, it's not
Right.
easy. I'm still trying to figure my way out, but I believe I'll get there. So
right, Karen.
that's it. Yeah.
Just go slow. That is my suggestion. I'm also there in the UA, you know, even in the communication group and the other measurement group as well, because I was the secretary of Asia Pacific School of Internet Governance. So, you know, I was quite interested in the work that they are trying to do in terms of universal acceptance. And, you know, universal acceptance is something that deals with IDNs and localization working in the community. So I was very interested. My suggestion to you is to start slow. That's what I said yesterday, that, you know, you start slow and then you move on further, because there are a lot of meetings, a lot of emails that comes in at times it overwhelms you, and you know, and you kind of like feel as if you're not contributing, and that's where you have to you know, get hold of yourself and you know, have that clarity that now I'm going to focus on only one aspect, only one group. Because let me tell you, I'm a member of NPOG, I'm a member of NCUC. I dived in everything at large, you know, UA. Then I kind of like, you know, when I had that mindset that, okay, now let's see, because I'm a communication guy. So, you know, the skills that I have is what I can use for the community. So I was doing a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, and it just took everything out of me. So, you know, every day there were meetings, every day there was meetings happening, every day there were like not five, there were like, you know, 10, 20 meals coming in, and I was not able to focus. So then I decided, you know, now I'll focus on something very specific. And then, you know, like if there is an opportunity, I keep a track and I go through most of the mails. And if there is something, I shoot them a reply saying, okay, these are the things, you know, these are the things that are supposed to be done in terms of communication, but I generally keep a track about what are the things that are happening. So this is the way, and the most important thing that you have to understand in all these groups, constituencies, is they need volunteers. because it's not a paid job, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
And the ICANN staff is just there to coordinate they are the facilitators, and the community has to do the work, and they don't have the funds for the community. I mean to say they have a certain funds, but not not for specific roles, and public policy is such a work that demands a lot of volunteering, and it is very important from the community side that we step in and contribute to this. Raymond very rightly said that volunteering is very, very important. But if you start to volunteer in all these groups, without without having a clarity, then ultimately you are only volunteering. So you have to be very specific and very clear about where, what, and when you are gonna do the things that you want to do. So you have to be passionate as well as the things are there. So
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
So, Ashraf, would you like to share your experience of today? Like, how did you relate to Raymond?
Yeah, thank you. Hope all of you are well. So, from my learning, your presentation and what you already discussed, issues, we all know that the focus is the most important, powerful tool. When we have just an example, when we have a report in the presentation or something important to do, usually focused on the complete attention, right? Until it gets done. And then we have done the hundreds of time and think nothing of it. So, and I shared another example because we have even the read books and articles or about people who have achieved an amazing result by their staying focused. So some of the time when we are in voluntarism, more voluntarism can be distract me from my principal things, what actually we need. So we should give on the focus on very specific issues, then that could be the helpful to gain the success. I think so. So my main issue is the focus on the basic themes or principal themes, specific things. That's all.
Yes, indeed, Ashraf, that is the thing. But apart from that, a lot of the times what happens in ICANN is, this is the thing that I have realized, because during the COVID-19 situation, what had happened was I saw a lot of opportunity when COVID hit, right? Because right now, when there is events happening, when there is face-to-face meeting happening, only few selected people are traveling. I mean to say, it is in hundreds, right? But when COVID was there, the opportunity was open to everyone. Everyone was able to attend it online, though it is available right now as well. But there was a sense that everybody is united. We all were in the same base. So that was there. But the fact that the thing that I realized at my personal level was the engagement, it went down, right? So a continuous motivation is needed. So that's where you don't want to be drained. That is the reason why I have been saying focus on specific things. And if you just think about this, then you will know that just imagine ICANN spend a lot of money for a lot of these events, trying to create that engagement, whereas with the online, it was able to reach out to the whole world, but the engagement went down. So there was like very limited motivation, and there were a lot of discussions about this, and we suggested that yes, we need to motivate people. And Raymond, our previous speaker, was the one who said, yes, we need motivation. We need to organize awards. We need to do a lot of motivation to people who are attending, so that they feel motivated, so that the community will further engage. So motivation is a huge part, because ultimately, if you realize this, inspiration is something that can be done one, but to do something within the community, you need to be constantly motivated, right? So that you can get action and you can achieve the desired objective. So anyone who wants to speak or share?
I think here's the appreciation is the another sort of the medicine to grow up.
Right.
So as all of we observe, the multitasking is less productive than doing a single thing at a time. But if anyone could be the multitasking, then if he get or if she get the appreciation, it could be opportunity to do more something.
Yes, so true, so true. That is the whole point. That you want to be motivated all the time, because a lot of the work in ICANN is voluntary. Let me be very strict to you. You will not get paid. You will have to attend a lot of the meetings, and at the end of the day, if you are, that is the reason why I've been focusing from the beginning, saying be specific, and you will not, a lot of the times you will not be appreciated. I mean to say, it's a community work. As I said, even you were interested in policy, right? When the policy is developed, it is a community consensus process. So when there is a consensus, it's everybody's credit goes on there. So a lot of the times you will not hear
exactly
or get the
right
credit, right? So you kind of like, that is the reason why I was saying constant motivation is very important. And I was very surprised. In one of the sessions, Raymond, our previous speaker, was the one who came and who said, that we need motivation. We need, there could be competition held. There could be some level of payment given to participants. It could be a token of interest. It could be, through a social media competition or anything. There needs to be recognition. And I hugely respect that man for this, because, you cannot be superficial all the time, right? You have to be practical, and when you are practical, only then you make that change, or you make that decision or action possible. Because without being practical, things don't work. And that is the reason why we need people who are practical. We want you leaders to be very practical when you are dealing with the community. When I don't want you guys to have certain assumptions that your work would be recognized. No, you have to be smart enough to document, to be visible yourself, right? So it is more of a very, very, very smart way of doing things, and making your work visible, as well as being yourself visible. And there are various tools to do that. I mean to say, social media is there. If you are going to attend ICANN 75, then please use social media. Use the hashtag. There is a social media competition that is going on this year. They have continued this competition, and just go listen. And if you feel something good, tag people. We will come down to this. We have a session at the end on the 9th, on Friday, about how to engage, how to create your visibility, because that is very important in context of how you will portray yourself in the community, as well as showing your engagement, so that it helps people. Because ultimately, if you don't do it, then you are gone, right? So it is very important to collaborate as well. Collaborate, communicate, engage, and these things are not just there. It is for your personal growth. These things are for your leadership qualities. These things are there for your professional skills as well. And if you grow on this, you grow on there for life, and you further become a valuable leader. And the value itself is the skills that you grow on within yourself, to practice within the community, within your surrounding. And that is very, very, very important. So now if anybody wants to share or talk or, have a point, then please, the mic is yours.
So Rahmaji, once again,
Yes.
it's very true. Your presence will be recognized by your contribution.
Yes, but you have to be very smart as well, because it's when you talk about all these communities, then these communities have a certain figurative people who don't want to leave their position, who don't want to leave their power. They don't want new people to take in the roles and responsibilities. So that is always there. So you have to prove yourself. You have to be patient, as well as you need to be very smart enough to showcase your work. That is the reason why I was telling you documentation, engage, visibility. These words are very, very important. You have to need to do the smart work. So these things are something that the community needs to work on with the new leaders, right? Because the opportunity is there. The opportunity is there to prove yourself, right? And to create that new leadership for yourself as well as your community members. So we have.
I have keen interest about the research and publications for the IG community related research and publications. I think you will suggest us how to involve with this era.
What do you mean by research and publication? I didn't get what you're trying to say.
As you know, we have many publications from our IG community. It could be from FC, it could be from PDC. So, have any opportunity to work with our mentor or work with our any fellows to involve with this research?
Right now, I do not see any such kind of opportunities. If it's available, it will be available in their mailing list, as I already said, to join the communities. Apart from that, the best way, Ashraf, is to create your own documents, do your own research, send it to IGF itself. They have different dynamic coalition groups with cybersecurity. You yourself, you are very talented. You can do a survey. You can send it to the cybersecurity group if you're interested in that. There is gender, there is other groups as well. Internet rights and principle is there. So there are a lot of different groups where you can engage yourself. But if you are talking about specific organizations, specific research, then you'd probably have to contact them, or stay in their communication within their social media, within their other things as well. And a lot of these information comes in with the social media as well. So you just have to be prepared for that. And what I would suggest is to start your own, do a small interactive session, or launch a survey and do it, so that if there's an opportunity, you can cross-link it and you can get that opportunity, reference it and get the opportunity. So that is a better scenario, rather than you sitting here and applying and then not, a lot of the times what happens is, a lot of these kind of opportunities are based on skilled. So they are not based on referrals, or no, they are based on skills. So if you have some of your researches, you put it down. So that is the thing that I would suggest, that in any one of the fellowships, don't go for writing saying I did this, I did that. No, throw in the links. I have outreach in Bangladesh with so many kids. I have this, you have the video, ask someone to click it and put it there. I will believe you, I'll give you the fellowship. I have given people fellowships with that. And I do check, I've checked, like, links. I ask for links. I don't believe in people. I have I have, so we have limited time. Lavish.
Thank you, Shridip,
You can
for
call me
this
Sri.
interactive. Sure. Thank you for this opportunity. It's very insightful. And what I would want to add briefly is, for me, I would rather say, don't look out for opportunities. Look out
So
for
true.
being impactful.
So
Look
true.
out for being impactful. For me, entering this ecosystem, Raymond would might speak more on my behalf, and I think I was looking out for doing what I love to do. Look out for what
So
you love
true.
to do, and
So
just
true.
do it. The opportunities will follow you. They will just
Follow
come
you.
after you. Yes, and that's what I would simply add to this point. Thank you.
So true. Yeah, that is the thing. You create your own opportunity. It is not like somebody's going to give you, even at the community level, you're not going to get recognition if you volunteer. No, you keep on. That is the reason why I said do smart work, write a paper, do document it. If you are suggesting something, have it in a paper and, post it somewhere where you can publish it, maybe in a blog. And when the application is there, you can cross-reference it, that I suggested this to this group. People do believe in that. I will not believe in a person saying I did this, blah 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 blah. But you have to create your own opportunity. That is what I'm saying. Smart work is something that is visible. So any more questions? Any more comments? That was quite interesting, Lavish. Thank you for that comment, Ashraf, as well. Because ultimately, the most important thing is human connection, so that is where you kind of like give tips, right? So for me, why am I outreaching? I'm outreaching to document this, to share my knowledge with you guys, and to get visible, so that is more important. I don't have a Zoom account. I don't have a paid Zoom account. That is the reason why we are having these two sessions. It is just 30 minutes. So, so you create your own opportunity. You do what is possible. So you kind of like go and work rather than, just trying to see what resources are available, just start engaging with what you have. Right. So thank you all for engaging. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for contributing. See you tomorrow at the same time. I'll be sending out the emails tomorrow also. I think the time was quite flexible, so we will be doing the sessions at 10 UTC and then 11 UTC again. Tomorrow we have Iris Ignacio. He is the vice chair of AP RALO, Asia Pacific Regional Organization, at large organization. So he is quite active in Asia Pacific with youth engagement and communication. Thank you all for joining. I will officially end this session. Thank you.